Hi guys. Well, we left off last time with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We were reading chapter 5. Today we're going to read chapter 6 and see what is happening on the Nautilus. But before we get into chapter 6, let's review and talk about what we read about in chapter 5. So in chapter 5, we finally got to meet the captain of the Nautilus, which was Captain Nemo, and we learned that he was a very rich and smart man, and he built the Nautilus himself. He doesn't like the world, so that's why he created his own world under the sea inside his submarine ship. And this chapter was all about Pierre getting to know Captain Nemo, and Captain Nemo gave him a tour of the ship, and they had dinner, and they visited the library. So now let's start reading chapter 6 and see what happens. Chapter 6 is called The Start of an Adventure. The waters remained calm and the sky stayed bright. I could see no land on any side. I did not know right away where we were resting. A crewman stepped onto the deck and measured the height of the sun. It was only a matter of seconds until we knew the time of day and our location. I now leave you to your studies, Captain Nemo said. There are maps below for you to follow and room for you to think. I will be in my cabin. I was surprised at the short amount of time the captain had spent with me, and yet I look forward to the hours on my own. I spent time on the deck and then went to the salon below. Here, there were many maps waiting for me. For a full hour, I did nothing but think. I could hardly believe this adventure was true, but the entrance of my two friends made it all seem real. Where are we? Asked Ned. My friends, I answered, you are on board the Nautilus. We should consider ourselves lucky. This is an amazing ship. Lucky, Ned said loudly. We're stuck here on a ship of nothing more than iron bars. How could this possibly be lucky? I spent the next few minutes trying to impress the man with the things I had seen. I knew Ned couldn't possibly feel as I did. I had seen the beauty and wonder firsthand, and yet I felt my stories were getting through to him, at least a little bit. Suddenly, the darkness fell upon us. I didn't feel the worry that I had when this happened before. Instead, I waited. I expected to see something wonderful when the light came back. I wasn't disappointed. For the next 2 hours, we were entertained by a show of color and grace. Fish and other creatures I had never seen before swam beside our ship. There were snakes 6 feet long. Japanese salamanders were everywhere. We couldn't believe the nature surrounding us. I was so happy to see and study these animals in their own homes. The glow of the ship drew in the fish. I expected to see Captain Nemo again, but he didn't come back. After some time, Ned and Council returned to their cabin. I went to my chamber to eat dinner. My meal was made up of turtle soup and a kind of fish I did not recognize. I spent the rest of the evening reading, writing, and thinking. As the Nautilus sped quickly through the Black River, I stretched myself out on the couch and fell asleep. The next day was the 9th of November. I awoke after a long sleep of 12 hours. I dressed quickly and went to the library. I studied everything I could get my hands on that day. The time moved quickly. The entire day passed without a visit from Captain Nemo. The next day was the same. I did not see one of the ship's crew. Ned and Council spent the day with me. They were as surprised as I was that the captain had not visited. Was he sick? Was he too busy to see us? We were being fed well, and we were free to roam the ship. I decided that the captain had not forgotten us. The next day I was glad for a change. I couldn't tell by the fresh air spreading through the ship that we had come to the surface of the ocean. I found the staircase and climbed to the platform. It was 6 o'clock. The weather was cloudy, but the gray sea seemed calm. The sun made the fog disappear. I was admiring the sunrise when I heard steps coming up to the platform. I was ready to greet Captain Nemo. Instead, I saw his assistant. He looked at the sea, said a few words in German, and then left. 5 days went on like this. That's a long time. Every morning I went to the platform. Every day his assistant went through the same routine. Captain Nemo did not appear. I made up my mind that I would never see the man again, but then I returned to my room on the 6th floor on the 16th of November. I found a note on the table. It was written in clear, dark print. The letter simply said, and it says to Professor Aronnax on board the Nautilus. Captain Nemo invites Professor Aronnax to a hunting party tomorrow morning. We will visit the forests of the island of Crespo. He hopes nothing will stop the professor from coming. He would be pleased to see him joined by his friends. Captain Nemo, commander of the Nautilus. So I guess they're going to dock the boat and they're going to get off. Let's see what happens. A hunt? Exclaimed Ned. And the forests of the island of Crespo? Added Council. Let's first see where the island of Crespo is, I said. I did not share their excitement. We decided from our map that Crespo is a small island in the middle of the North Pacific. We went to dinner and bed, wondering what awaited us. On waking up the next morning, the 17th of November, I could tell the Nautilus was perfectly still. I dressed quickly and entered the library. Captain Nemo was waiting there for me. He rose, bowed, and asked me if I was ready for my trip. We entered the dining room, where breakfast was served. Captain Nemo again spoke to the workings of the ship. Today he told me about the challenges of getting oxygen into the boat. I listened with interest to his knowledge of the sea and the workings of this submarine. After more talk of air and the types of hunting guns that would work beneath the sea, Captain Nemo led me down the hall. I called my two friends as I passed their cabin. They followed right behind us, not knowing what they were in for. Well, that was a very interesting chapter. I don't think that Pierre's friends, Ned and Council, are as excited to be on the ship as Pierre is. I wonder why they feel that way. Also, Captain Nemo seems like a very strange and busy man. And I'm really intrigued to see what happens with this hunting experience. It seems like they're doing it underwater. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I guess we'll read and find out another day this week. So once this video is over, I want you to move to the next slide in the Nearpod, and you're going to complete a quiz question. See you tomorrow.